Hi, everybody. Matt Bernier, joined by DRF's national handicapper Mike Watchmaker, taking a look at the Weekend Warrior, Saturday, November the 10th. Couple of stakes races from Laurel Park, as well as one out opening weekend down at Del Mar. Let's start off at Laurel, Mike. Ninth race, it's the Richard W. Small, 1 mile and an eighth on the main track. You got a big overflow field in here. Where'd you end up going?
Well, I really hated going against Something Awesome because he was good to me and the Weekend Warrior when I lucked into him in the Charlestown Classic at 9-1 last April, but I just couldn't go with him. He's been away since an absolutely dismal performance in the Pimlico Special 6 months ago, and clearly something must have gone wrong in that race. And while the barn's good with layoff horses, I'm very wary of this horse off the bad race in a long layoff. Zanotti's actually been on my bet back list since Pennsylvania Cotillion Day at Parks, because that was a day, one of many at Parks, where the rail was completely dead, and for some mysterious reason, Zanotti was on or near the inside all the way around the racetrack. And what's interesting is, not only is it to his credit to finish second in the race, but he was actually passed momentarily in the stretch by Name Changer, who's also in this race, for second money, and he came back on Name Changer despite Name Changer being in the best part of the racetrack all the way around the track. So, you know, Zanotti's a horse that's 0 for 8 this year with 6 seconds, and usually those are not my kind of horses. But for him, it's been a series of circumstances where he's had adverse conditions like at Parks, or he's run into some just red-hot horses. And I think this is finally the spot for him to get back into the win column.
Race prior, race number 8, 3-year-old, 7/8 of a mile on the main track. It's the City of Laurel Stakes. You've got a few horses doing some different things, a field of 9 altogether. Where'd you end up?
I went with Old Time Revival in here. I'm very scared of Rugby Man because I think the cutback to 1 turn is very much what he wants to do. All of his 1-turn races have been really good, with the exception of one. But Old Time Revival is a horse that early in the year, you might remember, he was completely speed crazy. He's the horse that ran off early in the Wood Memorial. And of course, they picked him up with the blotter in the stretch. But, you know, he's really learned his lessons well lately. And he comes into this off the best race of his career. It was a victory over older Maryland breds in the Shalaton Stakes, in which he actually sat a little bit off the lead and then pounced. And it's a race on paper that's absolutely good enough to win this one. And now he's moving back in with straight 3-year-olds. And, you know, I think this is a horse that's just getting much better at the right time. 2 of his last 3 starts were really good. The only time he didn't run well was when he ran into Promises Fulfilled up in Saratoga, and Promises Fulfilled, despite his dull performance last week in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, is still the best 3-year-old sprinter in the country.
Another 3-year-old stakes race. You go out to the West Coast opening Saturday down at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. It's the Let It Ride, 1 mile on the turf course. Only a field of 7, but you do have some options in here, some interesting propositions. Where are you going to go?
Well, I couldn't touch any of the Aqueduct, either of the Aqueduct Stakes, was they're scheduled for turf. And of course, every 2 days it rains in New York, and they're saying about another inch or 2 of rain Friday into Friday night. So I just didn't want to tempt fate with those races. And by default, this is where I wound up in. And certainly Prince Earl could win this race. He won his first 2 career starts, like a very nice prospect. But this is a restricted stake race, and I want a horse who has stakes experience, and I went with Calyx Man in here. Calyx Man, I thought, ran reasonably well, finishing 3rd in 2 stakes races over the summer over on the Del Mar turf course. He was sharpened in a downhill race last time out. He now adds blinkers. He's as absolutely loose in the lead as he wants to be in this spot. And I'm hoping that, you know, with a 3 or 4 or 5 length lead, he might get brave and hold on at this level.
You can find the entire Weekend Warrior write-up over on DRF.com. DRF's national handicapper Mike Watchmaker with this weekend's Weekend Warrior. Great stuff as always. Good luck this weekend. We'll talk again next week, Mike.
Thank you, Matt.